See,
We're
now
live.
this is what, oh, you got the numbers. You got to put the numbers here. Put the number. Oh. Hi there.
We're live.
When did you get here? How are you? What's happening? Hold on one second. We're getting a little something from Director Ray Silva. Okie dokie. Welcome to K9s For Warriors. This is Bill Taylor. We are at the annual telethon. Call right now, 210-796-3682. This is your opportunity to help further a mission of love on Veterans Day for veterans. You save the life of a veteran. Veterans go to war, but war stays with them. They leave war, but war comes home with them. PTSD and so many of these post-deployment conditions can be helped a lot and can come a long way. In fact, look at this. 1,000 warriors have now been helped. That's a huge milestone with K9s For Warriors. And one of the cool things, they're headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, but they said, we want a second location. They chose San Antonio, Texas, and even Helotes, Texas, where there's a ranch. And that's further training with the veteran and the dog. Here, where I'm standing, is going to be dogs only for about 6 to 9 months. And 210-796-3682 is how you help this mission today. With any dollar amount, it all goes into the training of these dogs. Take a look. Here's our operators who are sitting by, ready for your call at 796-3682, 796-3682. Make sure to call right now, and you're helping veterans like my good friend Monique.
Yes, sir.
Happy Veterans
Thank
Day.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you
Yes, sir.
for saying yes and saying, send me.
Absolutely.
What was the motivation when you decided, I'm going to join the military and serve my country?
It was just that. There was a war going on, and I felt the need to serve. And the verse actually, "Send me," in the Bible came up, and that's where I was like, that's it. I'm
Awesome.
going.
Which
So,
branch?
Army.
United States Army, and you were all over the world. You
All
told
over
me.
the world. Deployed 5 times.
Oh, wow. 5 deployments.
Yes, sir.
Wow. What was
Yes,
the
sir.
longest stretch and where?
12 months Afghanistan.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like? I mean, was it something you want to forget in some cases, but would never be able to, right?
You know, it's there are incidences that
Yeah.
you want to forget, but I've gotten a lot of therapy, a lot of work has went into my post-deployment days, and so it's bad memories now.
Yeah.
I can think about it, and I remember my time over there, and it's just bad memories versus like a horrible experience. But met great people, met awesome battle buddies along the way, and still some of them are still serving. I retired in 2022,
Okay.
and so after my 5th one, I was like, I'm done. I
Yeah,
got to get
yeah.
out. So, and really and truly, that was a time for me to kind of take a knee, drink some water, and heal mentally and physically during that time. So
Part of that healing is Chinook.
Yes.
You know, and I
Yes.
just want you to paint a picture for us. What was life, I'll call it BC, before Chinook?
Before Chinook. Oh man. I had retired, and I did what a lot of retirees do. They isolate. I went and lived on a ranch away from people. I had horses, but that was about it. And really just isolated, didn't go out much, didn't spend time with friends or family. In fact, I made excuses not to go home for holidays sometimes, just because
Yeah.
I didn't want to be with people. And so it
Right.
was very lonely, very
Right.
lonely.
And that's, I think, the trap, right? And then that becomes a stronghold, and it's very difficult to break.
Yes, sir.
So what would you say? I mean, I'm praying that a veteran's watching right now. What would you say to a veteran who's in that mode, in that darkness, and really needs help?
Yeah, you don't have to fight alone. There's people around you. There's supporters who obviously today is calling in, supporting programs out there. But there's services out there for veterans. There's counseling. There's service dog availability. Like there's things out there to help. So if someone's suffering, you don't have to suffer alone. We can help you.
How often, too, do you meet veterans who are going through the same? You know, you mentioned the term battle buddies.
Yeah.
That's got to be something that really truly brings people together.
It is. It is. The military has just the camaraderie. Like that's the one thing I think when you retire or you get out for whatever reason, you lose that. You lose the camaraderie, and I think that's what veterans need more than anything is community, camaraderie. That's how we keep going. That's how we keep living. Yeah.
One of the coolest things is how they train these dogs. I mean, you have to understand that this dog, Chinook, is trained to know Monique so well that he can sense anxiety attack that's on the way that you don't know is coming. They can wake you up in the middle of the night before you go into a night terror and a nightmare.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yep.
That, to me,
They sense it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sense
That
it
is
before we do.
Incredible. Right?
Yeah.
Just how they're designed, how they're trained. That's why it's a 6 to 9 month process.
Yeah. And I know they do a lot of work here, and what I love about K9s is they don't forget you. You know, I went home with a service dog 2 years ago, and I came back a year later because we needed some help, little things, and so they brought me back in. They helped me. They kind of attuned us, so to speak. We recertified, and it's been great ever since. Yeah.
This is a lifelong relationship. It's not like, okay, here's your dog and we're done. Good luck. No. K9s is a lifetime partnership.
It is.
It's a family.
It is.
And they're taking good care of you because you took care of us, because you said, I'm taking care of you. Because I'm telling you, do you enjoy freedom of religion? Do you enjoy freedom of speech? Do you enjoy the freedoms that you have every day when you wake up? It's thanks to veterans like Monique. They fought for those freedoms that we enjoy. So look, the donations are coming in, 796-3682. You're next. Come on, just pick up a phone, 796-3682. Look, Jerry Jones, only $25, Jerry Jones, really? Because y'all got beat so bad by the Eagles yesterday? Was that out loud? I'm sorry. Hey, Yolanda. But look, we're coming up on $500,000. Let's go. We've got our goal at 7 figures this year. We want to get to $1 million at this year's 9th annual Veterans Day phone bank. And I'll tell you what's really cool about it. You get to say thank you to a veteran on Veterans Day, the biggest way possible. And it's 2 lives you save. It's not only the veteran whose life has changed and they're giving their independence back, but it's also the dog. Remember, these are rescue dogs. In fact, if you go to my Instagram, Bill Taylor Ken's, shameless plug, but you'll get to actually see a dog that arrived just today from an area shelter. It was a stray, and they have to meet certain requirements to even make it here first, and this dog did. This dog's here, and it happened just about a few hours ago, actually. So, yeah, check that out on my Instagram. Speaking of checking out, we're going to go outside. Thank you, Mariana. Appreciate it. And show you exactly what they do here. We're on 151 on a beautiful Veterans Day Monday. After a fall weekend, it's a little on the warm side, probably like 88 for a high, a little on the high side. Call 210-796-3682. And this is the Petco Love Canine Center because Petco, the company, bought this property, which again, on 151 is very expensive property. And I call it the corridor of love. You know, not just love here, but love next door at ACS. Animal Care Services is right there. And then on the other side of Animal Care Services, the San Antonio Food Bank. Come on. This is a corridor of love. Look, who do we have here? Wait a minute. Who's this? Hi. She's taking you for a walk now. Delta. Hi, Delta. Hi, Delta. Aren't you a sweetie? How long's Delta been with us? What's your name?
Hi, I'm Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
How are you?
Great, thank you.
Good.
How long's Delta been here at
So-
K9s?
So I was paired with Delta in October of last year.
Oh, wow.
So just
okay.
over a year.
Over a year now. Okay, and how is Delta doing?
He's an angel.
Yeah.
I'm a little biased, but
Yeah,
I think
are
he's
you right,
yeah, a little
right?
bit, just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Easy to fall in love with, right?
Yeah, he really is.
He's a big boy. There he goes on Facebook Live. Okay, no, just, okay, go for it, Delta. There he goes. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, good job.
Nice job, Delta. 210-796-3682. Make your part of this mission count. And here's the beauty of it. We've got an anonymous donor matching your pledge. So if you give $10, it became 20. If you give us $50, it becomes 100 right now. So you can match a gift Well, you don't have to match it, but it'll be matched. And that makes it go twice as far as what your initial gift is. All right, let's go meet some trainers and meet some dogs here at K9s For Warriors, a 6 to 9 month program. And a poodle? I don't think I've ever seen a poodle. This is awesome. How are you?
Doing well, how are you?
Great. Who is this?
So this is Winston.
Winston.
Yes, Winston.
Winston's digging those birds over there.
Yeah,
huh?
Winston loves the birds.
So see, there's an example of the training.
Mm-hmm.
You have to train for every conceivable situation.
Yes, and it's hard to do that. There are a lot of things that we miss. Once I found that one of my dogs doesn't like fly swatters, and that's something I never even thought of.
Right.
But yeah,
Wow.
things that you typically should see out in the world, like a kid bouncing a ball, or birds, or running into other dogs surprisingly, we try to cover it all.
Randy was mentioning bubbles.
Bubbles.
He didn't know one of the dogs went out and bubbles were like, he started, and balloons and
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
Those
they have to
things?
be able to handle every situation the
Yes.
exact same way.
Yes, so rather than expose a dog to every single one of those exposures, which would be almost impossible,
Sure.
what we do is we try to have a reliable reaction. So even if the dog is scared, we can rely on a certain reaction, which is not running to the end of the leash, barking, snarling, all those things. Just maybe the dog would press up against your side or something. So we try, instead of training for every exposure, we make reliable reactions.
That's a great principle. I guess you deal with the fear, not so much the what's
What
getting
they're-
them there.
Right,
The
unless
catalyst.
it's something that they're super afraid of, like
Sure.
a balloon. If
Right.
I can't get you to stop staring at the balloon, then we'll have to work through the balloon.
Well, walk me through that scenario. I mean, let's say Warrior is paired, and 3 months, maybe even a year and a half down the line, they say, hey, Winston's having a real issue with fly swatters.
Mm-hmm.
Do they come back here, or is there follow-up? How does that work?
So it's a really good question. So one of the good things is a lot of our dogs won't really have that issue, only because if they've been with their warrior for 3 months, the dog is pretty reliable with their warrior. The dog
Sure.
can rely that their warrior will be there. So
Okay.
you'll notice that less and less things that they'll be scared of or they're acting oddly for.
Because they're secure in who their master is.
Yes.
Okay.
But if they do have that, our team is here for everything. And I tell the warriors all the time, once you are with canines, you're not getting rid of us. We're here for everything. So what they can do is actually really simple. They can text what we have, the duty phone. We always have a trainer who has that phone, who's willing to work with them right then and there. So as soon as the problem happens, all they have to do is text that phone number, which they already have, and they can ask simple ways to work through it. But if it's a bigger issue, we'll have a video of it, or we could send someone out or pair them with a trainer that's in their area that is with ADI and help them get through it. So we're here no matter what, even
That's
if we
so
have to
cool.
send someone out.
Yeah, that is the beauty of it. I mean, here 24/7 in order to help every situation. I know that one warrior had gotten to an area where they thought, and they said, no pets are allowed. And that warrior was like, oh, you don't understand. And they called and everything's taken care of.
Yes, that unfortunately can happen a lot. We actually don't get a lot of that in San Antonio, thankfully, but we have trainers and things working all around the city. But in other cities, unfortunately, people are not as familiar with
Sure.
the service dog laws, and so they can walk into a lot of places. There are only a few places that service dogs aren't necessarily allowed, but those other places, you know, by federal law, they are
Yeah.
allowed in.
They're allowed in.
And it's really hard on the warrior. They're going through a lot, and
Right.
not a lot of them are wanting to be that advocate for everyone else, to be like, I'm going to fight you right now to get, so that
Right.
you understand. So it's easier for them to just call canines and have our resources deal with it rather than them having to deal with it themselves. And I feel really bad for those situations.
I know, and you don't know when they're coming, but you got to be prepared for them. 210-796-3682, 796-3682 to help on this mission. It's the one day we are asking you to help us. And again, we're matching the donations, an anonymous donor. Every dollar will be matched. 100 becomes a 200. So make that happen at 796-3682. How much longer does Winston have before
before he goes.
Companionship.
And not long. I think we're
really?
looking at January for him.
All right.
Yeah, so I don't have much longer with my buddy.
Right? And see, what's really cool that happens, thank you so much.
course.
Going to meet some other trainers. We have the ranch in Helotes where the veteran and the dog get to know each other. And that's a 3-week-long training program. Hello, how are you? Doing great. Are you lounging?
Yeah, she's chilling in the sun.
That is so nice. What a beautiful day. Hello. And who do we have here?
This is camp.
Hey, Camp. How are you, Camp? What a good. Now, how
Good
do we arrive at the names?
They get sponsored, so
Oh, that's okay, yeah.
So she got sponsored by I think
Hey,
Men's
Camp.
Warehouse, and they'll sponsor the dogs like they'll call today. But yeah, she got sponsored.
Yeah, Men's Warehouse. What a turnaround story, because I know that their business was in trouble a few years back. It made big news.
Yeah.
And now they've turned things around, and they are so generous to K9s For Warriors.
Yes, very.
And so Camp is a donated dog from Men's Warehouse. Hey, he's like
Good
the camera. There it
girl.
is. So this is part of the training. Let's see how they do it.
Yeah,
at camera.
so we usually train them to get used to pretty much everything. So this is good. She's like, I'm camera shy.
Right. Now, you know what's really cool is I love the fact that some of the dogs that don't get paired with a warrior can be adopted.
Yes.
So tell me how the adoption program works here.
Yeah, so once they are once they don't make it through the program, that's no worry for them. They get adopted by a family. So what happens is they'll get out of the program, and then they'll go to our adoptions team, and they'll start training them on basic manners that they need in the house, instead of their service dog cues. And then once from there, they get on the adoption page, and they'll go to a home.
That's so cool. Tell me your name.
Annika.
Annika, tell me how this has been something that you wanted to do. When was your like send me moment that I want to be a part of training these dogs for veterans?
I've always had a love for dogs, and knowing that these dogs get to go to a home that truly supports them and their warrior, that really touches my heart. I have a lot of family in the military, so dogs and this, perfect matchup.
That's so cool. I can feel and sense the joy it brings you. So thank you for what you're doing. I mean, honestly, the rewards, it's one after another. Because again, there's even warriors on waiting lists for dogs. So please, the more money, the more resources. The more resources, the shorter that waiting list. That's the reality. 796-3682. If you call that number, if you donate, we're going to be able to further this mission and shorten that waiting list. Who do we have here?
This is Onyx.
Hey, Onyx. I love Onyx. Yes. What a beautiful black coat you have. Hello, Onyx. Very excited. Oh, somebody wants camera time over there. Have a little FOMO.
Yes.
So tell me, now, where is Onyx in the program? Maybe a little early, huh?
Yes, he is a little early. He is about 4 months in at this
Oh, okay,
point, but
okay.
we did get him a little younger, so we're giving him time to grow and develop. Yes, good boy.
How
Yeah.
do they get along with each other? I mean, like, you know, dog to dog?
It depends. A lot of our dogs, because they did grow up in the shelter, they can have some issues with other dogs. Other dogs have grown up on the street, so they have had to fight for resources, unfortunately. He was not socialized, and because he is younger, he is very, very excited towards other dogs. Other dogs find him pretty rude, so he doesn't have any playmates for right now until he can kind of learn to calm down and
Know his
settle
manners.
and make friends friendlier.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. Make friends friendlier. That's perfect. Now, once the dogs are coming into this program, I bet there's ways you can tell right away.
Yes, there definitely is.
And there are some red flags and maybe some different
Yeah.
things that, you know, but every dog is so different, right?
Mhm. They definitely are. Like I said, we do get dogs from shelters, and some of them have had different experiences growing up. Some grew up in homes and were unfortunately surrendered due to different reasons.
Uh-huh.
So, others have grown up on the streets their whole lives, so they can have some certain issues. Usually we do a temperament test, and we're able to kind of see, do they have issues with dogs? Do they have issues with people? Are they comfortable and confident? Those are the dogs we most often take. The dogs that seem to struggle with that, unfortunately, we do not take, just because we don't want them to struggle in our program.
Right.
So,
And then you also move them through different trainers. So they experience different styles, different
Yes.
methods with each one of you guys. And That's
Definitely.
important for their development too, I bet.
Yes, absolutely. Winston over there, he was with one of our other trainers. He wasn't doing very well. He was very, very closed off at first. Then he moved over to Karen, and he's opened up. He's more comfortable. He's more confident.
Interesting.
So, I mean, all trainers, we have different approaches as to how we train, and sometimes dogs need a different approach. Also, sometimes dogs can just get bored with the same
Yeah,
trainer doing the
yeah.
same thing. So having someone new can be very, very exciting for them and can kind of reinstill the fun that is training.
When you have to say goodbye as trainers, I mean, I know y'all have a love for these babies.
Yes.
What happens? I mean, what happens at that moment? You've got to turn it over to that veteran. I mean, I know mission accomplished, and that's got to have a great sense of accomplishment, and we're very happy that fulfilling that. But it's tough to say goodbye too, isn't it?
It definitely is. You spend so much time training and putting your heart and soul into getting these dogs where they're going to be. But for me, especially seeing that end result of them matching with their veteran and their veteran just completely becoming a different person with the confidence that their dog gives them is something so rewarding and so beautiful to see.
Have you seen that? I mean, tell me, what does that look like? That's something I haven't seen, what probably a lot of people haven't seen, that transformation moment for the veteran, and when you really see the engagement happen.
Yeah, so I've only been with K9s for 4 months, so all of my dogs have not yet been matched. But I did work with the service dog org previously, and all of my dogs have been matched with their veterans that I've trained, and it's incredibly rewarding to see that. These veterans have go through so much, and they've done so much for us, so it's really important for me to give back and do what I can, and I obviously love what I do.
So cool. Tell me your name.
Rachel.
Rachel, Bill, nice to see you. Thank you so much, Rachel. And thank you, Onyx. It was very nice to meet you too, sir. He looks like a handsome gentleman. I'm sorry, but I don't know about this rude part she mentioned, but I'll tell you, he's doing good. That's so cool. Karen, we just heard that Winston really came out of his shell and really warmed up to you a lot more, huh? And how
Yes.
that can happen with different trainers, I guess.
It sure can.
You just don't know.
Sometimes a dog just pairs with a
Yeah.
person, and
Oh, my
the basic things don't work. I like to tell people training a dog can be really easy. You ask them to do something, as soon as they do it, treat, and then all of a sudden they do it. But sometimes they need a different approach. Lincoln needed somebody to irritate him, and so I did. He needed somebody to mess with him and show him that it was okay to be a dog.
Right.
He came from actually a hoarding situation.
Oh, gosh.
A lot of times when that happens, the dog doesn't understand how to be a dog. They don't understand interactions with people
Right.
or toys or high value, which
Wow.
like pig ears and things like that, they really don't understand. So he needed somebody to help break him out of his
Yeah.
shell that he had grown up in and show him that it's absolutely okay to be a dog.
Yeah, it is. Hey, you know what? And again, 210-796-3682. We won't be here tomorrow. This is the one day that you have to help us further this mission of love to our veterans on Veterans Day. You're going to feel great about it. 796-3682. Karen, as a dog owner myself, and there's plenty of dog owners out there, give me the one go-to tip on training a dog. What is the one must-have, the one common denominator, kind of that one starting step? What would you say, Liz?
Oh, there's so many basics.
Is there too many?
There are a lot. I would say that your best success comes when you treat the behavior you want to see. So if it's a sit, give a treat every single time your dog sits. If it's barking, treat them every time you're barking. I don't know if you'd want that, but if the dog's quiet, give more treats when it's quiet.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And is it true that their attention span, I've always heard like 10 to 15 seconds? Like if you get home and you see that they did a number 2 in the living room, you don't know when that happened. It could have been 3 hours ago. If you scold them, they don't put 2 and 2 together. They don't. You have about 15 seconds. I remember hearing
Kind
that.
of.
Is that true? That's not true?
Not exactly. So trainers work in 2.5 to 3 seconds. That is the time when you can tell the dog it did right or wrong.
2 to 3 seconds?
2.5 to 3 seconds.
Wow.
I know, it's a lot. So a lot of times when you see the clickers, we condition that the clicker means you did something right. That way we can catch it within those few seconds
Yeah.
before anything else happens later. But once a dog understands what you're trying to, the point that you're trying to get it across, that time, in theory, can stretch up to more. But yes, if a dog accidentally breaks in the house, it's better to get the dog outside more often than to, let's say, punish it for
Very
the
good.
15 seconds.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Reinforcement works better than punishment.
Yes, it typically
Okay,
does. Yes.
okay.
And that's the theory that all of our trainers work through here.
Positive.
Positive reinforcement rather
Okay.
than corrections.
Good stuff. Good stuff. See? There's a tip. Call and donate on that. 796-3682. 796-3682. Oh, yeah. Oh, we got one more over here. We got to say hi. Who's this? Tucker. That's right. Hey, buddy. You okay? What's happening with Tucker today?
Tucker is working on being around other dogs. He
Okay.
loves dogs so much that we need to work on being calm around them. So
We talked about so many of the scenarios that you try to, I would guess, simulate, right? Because you want to try to simulate true behavior in the world. There's so many things, though, and that's got to be such a challenge. What would you say is the number one thing you have to teach a service dog to do and do well?
honestly, settling. It's
Settling.
really hard.
Yeah.
Learning to just be in a restaurant and be calm and just exist. There's food around. There's different people that you have to ignore.
Okay.
So it's just the dog learning how to coexist and be in public while being in a calm state of mind.
It's funny you bring that one up because you know what? Were you on the day trip to Ken's 5?
I have been before.
Okay, so when we had a group of trainers and dogs visit us at the station, they sat in our 2 o'clock editorial meeting. And it was so cool to watch. You did not know they were there. And there were like 6 of them. And that, to me, and there's a bunch of people, a lot of talking, a lot of action. I mean, it's not a restaurant, it's not Applebee's,
Yes.
but it was, you know, so I could just imagine you got to train for that Applebee's too.
Yeah, so Warriors, their day-to-day job, like they
Yeah.
bring their dogs to jobs, so they need to learn how to settle in an office and just be there and be able to just lay down, go to sleep, entertain themselves basically for a little bit. So
It could be the littlest things too, right? Like even just what they're walking on. Like obviously we're on like a brick here, grass, linoleum,
different
vinyl
textures,
flooring,
yes.
hardwood, right? Carpet. I
right.
mean, and
There's so many different smells that they have to
Smells.
learn to ignore. Yes.
yeah, wow. Well, thank you for what you do. Tell me what really motivates you to come here every day and do this, and what was that original like call that you had on your heart to do this for a living?
So I've had family members serve, so knowing what an impact I could make to be able to help a warrior with getting a dog, to know that their mind is at ease and their anxiety levels have decreased, just having a dog means the world to me, and it keeps me here.
Yeah. How long have you been doing it?
About 2.5 years.
That's so cool. Thank you so much. Tell me your
Yes.
name again.
Kayla.
Kayla, thank you so much, Kayla. That's so awesome. I mean, honestly, everyone that's here and everyone that I meet has been called to this job, this mission. It's really more of a mission. And I'll tell you, I'm a true believer that God ordains a heart for certain things with purpose. And you can tell these people belong here. I'm telling you. 210-796-3682. Let's go check the board. The tote board is hot. Because I'll tell you, we're going for about another 4 hours, right? Yeah, we wrap up at 6:30, so we'll have the 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. newscasts. And of course, you don't have to stop here. If you want to learn more about K9s For Warriors, maybe, you know what? Maybe your gift isn't financial. Maybe you have a resource, maybe you have a skill set that can really help this organization. Please give them a call. It doesn't have to be money. I mean, that's what we're doing today because all this costs a lot of money. I should ask inside the average cost to train one dog. Because again, it's 6 to 9 months. So think about the food, the shelter, you know, the pay for the trainers to be here. Thank you, Mariana. All of those things cost a lot of money. Maybe Jill, do you know, I'm sorry to just kind of hit you with this question.
That's okay.
What would you say, is there an average cost per dog? Like from when a dog enters a program, 9 months later, what are we looking at in a dollar amount?
Well, you know what, right now at this time, we kind of leave it up to our chiefs to talk about that cost. So if you ever have questions, we encourage you to call our headquarters in Ponte Vedra, Florida. But we will let you know that our dogs are with us for 6 to 9 months training, especially when they are a rescue, because it's like getting a dog from scratch. They may not have ever lived in a home before. They may not know what a television sounds like, what furniture looks like. So we really have to work with them to just even start from that very basic foundation and up. But we will say that to sponsor a dog with us is $30,000 for individuals and $50,000 for corporations and companies.
So we just heard of a Men's Warehouse sponsor that was outside camp, right? Is that the name? What was the name of that dog? But he was outside just now with the trainer. Sponsored by Men's Warehouse.
Okay.
It was a one-syllable name like that. So that's the 30, like that a company, or 50 that an
Well, for
organization
Men's
like that.
Warehouse, it would be 50 for a corporation,
That's
yes,
awesome.
and 30 for individual. But we are just so happy when we have dog sponsorships because they are really important to us to make sure that we keep our dogs coming in, because that money goes to vetting, housing, food, training, accommodations, and also it really helps us when if they get sick and things like that. So yeah, the money is very helpful.
You mentioned Florida. This is the one location outside the Sunshine State.
Correct.
They decided on Military City, US of
Yes,
A.
they did. They decided on it because San Antonio is Military City, USA. We love our military family, community, and veterans here. And also, we have one of the highest stray dog populations in the United States. I believe San Antonio, Bexar County is in the top 3.
Top 3?
Yes,
in
I
the
believe
nation.
so, in the nation. I
Did
believe
not know
outside
that.
of California and Arizona.
Wow.
So what an intersection, right? We have
We
rescue
just took in a stray
dogs.
today.
Yeah.
We just took in that stray today. It's on my Instagram. Remember, go over there, Bill Taylor Kens, and you'll see the moment that dog arrived.
Yes.
It was so cool.
Yes, so basically that intersection was there for us. So lots of stray dogs here,
How is-
amazing military community here.
That's what I was going to say. How is San Antonio receiving K9s for Warriors?
Wonderfully, everyone's been exceptionally kind to us. We've made a lot of community friendships with other veteran outreach programs here, which of course we love. There's a lot of alignment here. A lot of us are here to end veteran suicide, and that is, that suicide prevention for our dear veterans. And we have alignment with them. We may all have different modalities, but we have the same goal in mind. So yeah.
Well, thank you,
Thank
Jill.
you.
God bless
Happy
you. It's
Veterans
so awesome.
Day.
Happy Veterans Day. And join the board like Jennifer, Wendy, Alita, Shirley. You know how happy they are right now? They are so happy. They are elated. Look at Danielle. You can see the smile. Isabella, Taylor Jones, thank you so much. 796-3682. You can go anonymous, because the important part is that you're just joining this mission. It's taking us a lot of money to run this facility, to train these dogs, and we don't want a waiting list to grow. We want a waiting list to decrease. We want to shorten that list. So please call us today, and your donation will be matched dollar for dollar at 210-796-3682. I love you. God bless you, and thank you for giving. We'll leave you with the board as we close out, and we'll see you on Ken's 5 first at 4. Yeah. Oh, I see it. Nope, I got it.
Thank you.
I felt like an hour. I know, thank you, bro. That was a long one.
Were you
You're the
on
man.
for a half hour?
Well, it was